Hello everybody and welcome to my stream. I'm Erica and I draw stuff. So yeah, I'm trying something out a little bit different. I'm actually waiting, hang on one second. Okay, I'm actually streaming through a new area and trying to get some people on Twitch. So hopefully some people check me out and yeah. Um so I didn't really have much in terms of viewers, luckily, last week because I wasn't very happy with my my drawing of Hangman. So yeah. And I decided to redraw it and kind of make it look a little bit more like something I would actually want to look at. Or something I'm actually proud of. I'll put it that way. So I'm trying to like make sure. Okay. Everything is. I'm still really getting used to yeah, a lot of stuff with streaming. So yeah, if it ever comes off like I'm just, you know, being a stereotypical old lady, that's why. I'm just, yeah, trying to get used to everything. And right now I'm trying to pull up my, there it is. This way I have my chat available. So, and give me a second to get some more things on stream. Let's see. One thing I do want to start encouraging people to do is tip. Never a requirement, but always appreciated. It just helps me out. So, yeah, let me get to my live stream. There we are. All right. So, I'm going to leave the link in the, in the main chat area for anybody who is looking at this. There we go. Okay. Let me mute this guy. Okay, there we go. So, alright, I am streaming through both YouTube and Twitch, and if it turns out that anybody feels ignored, I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm just getting used to feeling two different chats. So, kind of getting my TV tray of art supply goodness situated, and I totally forgot to clean this after my previous painting. So let me pour this in. I'm just using nail polish remover, just regular old off-brand stuff from Target, and that actually helps pull this stuff off because it's acrylic. So okay, let me set that to the side, and I'm gonna let that sit and just kind of lift. But yeah, here is Adam Page. If you're a wrestling fan, that's great. Because yeah, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm actually doing this as a late Christmas present for somebody. So yeah, I just kind of went through and inked him, and yeah, made it look nice. So let's see here. I'm just posting a link somewhere real quick. There we go. All right. So first thing I'm gonna do is wipe down, wipe out my stuff. Get some pretty strong fume, so I don't want to be completely stoned off of nail polish remover while trying to talk to you guys. But yeah, as far as my process goes on inking this, I actually put it together pretty fast, and I think part of the problem last stream was I was getting a little too hung up on his likeness, and ironically ended up making it look nothing like him. So, man, trying to wipe all this out. So I kind of went back and did it earlier today, and I just tried to be quick with my drawing, and just stick to a more cartoony style. And that seemed to help out, because I think I was just overthinking it, which happens with artists all the time. I'm certainly not immune to it. But I think the likeness is much better. And I'm going to go step aside real quick and rinse this out. So, apologies, I was not quite as prepared as I thought on that. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to go rinse that out real quick. I got the small one right here in front of me. I'm gonna let the other one soak. So, getting right into color. I was going to do it very based off of his entrance theme. And 1 second. So that's going to be lots of yellows and reds and oranges in this one. And I'm just kind of going in right now and switching out some of my colors. I still got my Jolene colors from last painting. So I got, let's see, deep violet, cadmium yellow, muted green I can put away. I can pretty much put away all my greens and blues. I might need, actually I will need some later because of his eyes, but otherwise I'm bringing out, yeah, my browns, my yellows. This is going to be a lot more neutral. And then I'm going to use, just to offset a lot of the yellow, I'm actually going to give him purple shadows. So we're going to go through, first of all, and yeah, just go to town with some yellow tones. Just have fun with it. We're here painting some cowboy shit today. get my lid off my water over here. I got like a big old Target, like one of those big plastic jars for trail mix and stuff. Yeah, I had some trail mix, and then after that I just hung on to it and used it to hold paint water. So, all right, and yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and paint directly over it. If I had planned ahead a little bit more, I probably would have used Frisket, but these aren't terribly dark colors. I mean, I'm starting with yellow, so... yeah. Going with a lot of reds, yellows, browns, oranges, and then, yeah, purple to just kind of balance it out. It'll create a nice neutral tone. So, got some of that in. My base was just straight up cadmium yellow. And now I'm going to go in with my yellow orange, which, as you can tell, is almost out. And yeah, this is the fun part where I make a mess. But first I'm going to get some paint on my light. So, oh, I already got a bunch of paint on it. Because I do that. And this is also a time when I should be taking off my glasses. So I got that back where it's safe. Yep. All right. And that was the yellow orange I used and not the cadmium yellow because cadmium yellow is toxic. So I need to get one of those like faceplate type of masks that some people use in lieu of like the breathing stuff, the face masks. That way I'm not getting like pain, especially if it's a toxic kind, flying back at me. Whoops. And that's okay. I kind of smudged the ink a little bit on them. That's why I try to dab and not wipe, but I can't be perfect all the time. And I'm basically just, anytime I flick some paint, I'm dabbing at the color to take it off. That way this isn't as busy and I don't have to cover up as much when I'm painting him. But yeah, and then some of the thicker beads of paint, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of just absorb it. Pretty standard for just about any painting I do. Okay. Vivid red orange. And yeah, notice how I'm just kind of, I'm not really looking for precision. I'm just kind of throwing it wherever. right. So yeah, wipe some of the orange now. And luckily, this will be an easier painting than most for me to kind of build directly on top of, because it's a lot of yellow and oranges, and that's in a lot of Caucasian skin tones anyway. And plus, he's got blonde hair, so yeah. Everything's light colored, you know, works well with a light background. If I were using darker colors in the background, I would definitely probably do a layer of Frisket, which basically, for anybody who doesn't know about Frisket, it's kind of a, well, here, I'll show you. It's sort of the same consistency as rubber cement, and you paint it over a figure, and that just kind of masks it out. So all you have to do is paint over it, and then you can take it off, and, you know, yeah, you're not getting paint in places you don't want to. So, okay. Got them wiped off. I'm just going to keep going with deeper colors. My next one is Pyrrole or Purole Red. So, and one thing I do like to point out is some of these colors I'm using are transparent, some of them are opaque. The yellows tend to be a bit more on the transparent side. These reds, because I also have Napwall Crimson, the reds tend to be a lot more opaque. So it adds a nice layering effect, though, because, yeah, it just flew in my mouth. I don't think that one's toxic, but I would rather not ingest it. Yeah, I can see that stands out a lot more than, like, all of the orange tones did. It also makes red a very strong pigment. It's not terribly hard, but it's a little bit harder to work with blending, because much like black, a little bit goes a long way. I'm actually going to take off my sweatshirt and just paint a tank top, because I don't want to get paint all over this shirt. Okay. So, getting the paint off my face real quick. Yeah, I need to invest in a faceplate, I think. There we go. All right. And now we are going to wipe them off. And I'm actually going to sit for a second and let this dry, just because a lot of that is going to start bleeding it into each other and become a muddled mess if I do it too close together. Okay, so yeah, just let me take a moment. Checking something. I actually took a COVID test today. Oh, good, I'm negative. Good to know. So, yeah, rest assured, even though you're watching me from afar, I do not have COVID. Okay. Yeah, I had a family member who could possibly have exposed everybody, but apparently he didn't, so that's good. Although, I will continue to avoid eating at restaurants in the future. That was reckless of me. Alright, let's see. Yeah, kind of letting this... Opaque paints tend to take a little bit longer to dry. Hey, that gives it a nice texture. Gives it a nice texture and it speeds the process along. So that was the Pyrrole or Pyrrole red. I'm not really entirely sure how to pronounce it. Now I'm doing Naphthol Crimson, which is a slightly cooler red. Like, they're pretty close, and I'm not sure how much of a difference you can see on the camera, but I can tell this one is darker and cooler. So this is the Naphthol Crimson. This is a Pyrrole red. There's more of a yellowy undertone in this one. So, and then this one is a little more blue. Yeah. If you get to working with color and color theory a lot, you eventually... It's a lot easier than you would think to notice those things. Because you kind of need a trained eye for that. But I am, just for the sake of depth, using Naphthol Crimson, the cooler red, and I'm going to be using Magenta. Which, yeah, usually when you're wanting to mix a full range of reds, you want to use all three of these guys. Magenta, technically, people interpret as pink, but this is actually the red you're going to want to use if you want to mix any purples. So, if you want to mix any vibrant purples, I'll say. And much like with blue, you have your quote-unquote warm blue and cool blue. I would do... Let me find it. I have ultramarine somewhere, but I'm not seeing it immediately. This is actually a good one too, Prussian blue and magenta. That'll pretty much get you any purple and have it looking really pretty and vibrant, versus mixing Pyrrole red and Prussian blue. That's going to make a really muted, nasty looking purple. But on the flip side of that, if I want to mix a green, I would use a turquoise type of blue with yellow. And then if you want a neutral, if I want a neutral red, like as neutral as possible, I would mix these two, and that would give me just straight neutral red, not warm, not cool. So, just a little bit of color theory. I'm not sure if I explained that great, but I try to give at least a little bit of insight into what I'm doing. So, this is a case where a little can go a long way, so I'm not going to overdo it too much with this red, because one, I got a lot going on already, and two, I'm wanting it to more emulate sunset and not blood. So, actually got some of that in my hair. So, yeah. Because even though he's done some hardcore matches, I wouldn't use that motif with Hangman Page. I have thought about doing a Britt Baker, where she has, like, the super, like, bloody face from that hardcore match. I think it was last year. It's an awesome match. It made a really good t-shirt. But, yeah. I might do a Britt Baker like that, if anyone is interested. Okay, and right now I'm just getting some masking tape because I didn't tape them down at the beginning of the stream, and the pages are starting to curl up. So give me a moment to lay that down. There we go. This stuff tends to split, which really irritates me. But I was able to get it that time. Okay. So the ends there down. I'm going to get them down here. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of this crimson just because, like I said, I don't want it to look too much like blood splatters. Okay. So it can just blend in with the Pyrrole Red. Let me see here. And then just to kind of balance it out, I'm going to use some of the magenta down around here. That's not magenta. That's not magenta. That's magenta. I can't do accents very well. But it made me think of that scene from Crocodile Dundee, so. Apologies to any Aussies who might be watching this. Okay, so, yeah, there we go. And that's not going to get mistaken for blood. Especially once I kind of give it a little bit more. This is going back to more transparent again, which I'm sure you can see. And yeah, this is just to kind of help cool the image down. And I think it's a nice go-between for the purple that I'll use in the shadows. Having to wipe off my face and my hair again. Alright. So, I'm just going to go through again. And alright, there we go. Get him cleaned up. Okay. So there's that, and like I said, it's supposed to be more of a words are escaping me today. More of a sunset sort of look, so that's what I'm going with here. And I'm going to give this another second to kind of dry a little bit. I'm going to dab some of these big drops up. And yeah, I'll get to work on the shadows underneath. I actually just do that. There we go. I actually like that texture. Might even do a horizon and have like a horse or something in the background. I'm not sure yet. Okay, I'm just kind of hanging out for a second, let it air out. That's what my arms look like. So, a little bit on this arm too. All right, now let me see here. Wipe out a spot because I'm letting that other palette soak, so I'm going to try and use this as much as I can for the moment. Deep violet for the shadows. That means, because my main light source basically is yellow, so I'm using violet. All right. Let me throw away my old paper towels because they're soaked. Yeah. I need to actually get some paint rags together because I go through a lot of paper towels doing this. And that's not very environmentally friendly. Okay. Got my big old brush that was sitting in the water. I'm gonna let that guy dry out. Or lady. It hasn't told me its gender. Okay. And now I did go in. Oh, one thing I did want to point out was he's got a leather vest, and I tried to give a little bit of a hint at texture in the very beginning. I will actually, I've talked about before not painting directly with black, but since his bandana and his vest are black, I went ahead and filled them in, and also the tape. So I will, at the very end, be using black, but it's going to be mixed with a lot of browns. But when I was inking, I tried to give at least a little bit of texture, because since this is a leather vest, I used the very side of the brush pen and just kind of let it wipe down, and yeah, use what I believe I use, I use a cold press Bristol paper, and what that does, it has a little bit more texture than the hot press, and it's basically just literally when they're pressing the paper. Cold press leaves a little bit more of a texture, a little bit more of a grain, and hot press leaves it very slick. So both have advantages and disadvantages just depending on what you're using it for, and for me as a painter, I like to have that texture. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here, but that's how I got this texture with the vest. And then when at the very end, that's when I'm going to put the paisley pattern into his bandana. So, but for now, I got a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to try not to put my head in the way, because I know I tend to do that a lot when I'm streaming. He's got a very high bridge of his nose, kind of, and it's kind of a deep bridge, so there's usually a lot of shadow right here. Give him a little bit of definition in his eyebrows. I was talking about it last stream. Blonde hair is really hard. Or at least I think it's probably the hardest hair color to ink and color. Because it requires a really light touch, and it is kind of perceived as yellow, but it's not actually yellow, but you have to use a lot of yellow. And it can be kind of hard to get it to look natural, especially like more platinum blondes, but yeah. So, but, you know, I'm also a big proponent for, you know, being able to draw everybody. So, you suck it up and you deal with it. I haven't done blonde hair in a while, so I definitely needed the practice. And I'm actually going to put a little bit more shadow in here, just so it looks like he's wrinkling his nose a little bit more. It's supposed to be kind of a mean mug grimace look. I think I might have watered this down a little bit too much. That wash is super light. Then with the stubble, it was a little too heavy-handed when I did it with the brush pen last time, so I used a .08 Prismacolor Premier. That's kind of what the nib looks like. Trying to get it to focus. But yeah, that's what I used on his stubble, and that's usually what I'll do with a lot of fine points that really need to have more control, like his stubble. So, not to say it couldn't be done with the brush pen, but, you know, you can also hammer things in with a screwdriver, but it may not be the best tool for the job. And yeah. This definitely looks a lot more like him than my first attempt. Okay. Okay, there we go. Blend that a little bit more. But yeah. Getting to the hair now. I kind of exaggerated the cheekbones and jawline on purpose just to give it a little bit more shape. Let me add in a little bit of shadow here. Get a little bit of furrowing in his eyebrow. Okay. Switch to a bigger brush. And these are ropes hanging around his neck because he is the hangman. Okay. Now I'm just gonna, I got my photo references ready. So I can, you know, get the reference for his muscles a little bit better. And yeah, I'm just keeping it loose with a lot of this. Drawing a lot of muscles can, and getting a little bit too involved can make it look kind of stiff. And I'm not wanting stiff. I want it to flow. So, okay. There's the shadows down, and we're going to work with a lot more of the shadows and highlights to really push foreshortening with the forearms up here. So I'm just going to take a short break and once again let it dry. Okay. All right. So, just wanted to give that a quick break. Get these little wet spots. That's dry enough. Okay. I'm gonna go grab my other palette real quick. All right. So, that's done. I just want to show off my palette, my little one, real quick, because it's pretty. Okay. So now I'm going to start with the skin, which is going to have a lot of... there's going to be a lot of it, because wrestler. Okay. So I'm mixing up a lot of reds and yellows. I got my colors from my first palette here. I'm also going to add in some transparent raw sienna. And yellow oxide. So I can start getting some of those earthier tones in, and those mutes will help me out as I go. Okay. All right. And this is just a first wash. Might have a little bit too much water in this because it's looking really transparent. It's super, this paint is super watery, so that's okay. I'll work with it. All right. It's starting to look more like skin. Okay. Kind of live tweeting while I'm streaming. Just tweeting some stuff real quick. Where is... There's my channel. All right. See if we can get some more people in here. And post it to my Facebook too, because why not? I haven't really advertised my Twitch very much, but okay. This gives it a chance to dry out a little bit, and I'm going to mix some more paint. And actually, I'll bring it here so you can see. I've mixed in some white. This is actually the yellow oxide, which has gotten a lot of white mixed in, so it looks like a latte color. A little bit of cad yellow. And then I have my pinks and reds and everything over on this other one, so I just added a little bit of the Purell red. And I'm doing just a small touch of the magenta. Just so you can see what's going on off screen. Okay, this is starting to show up a lot better. And this is why I'm always a big proponent also for letting layers dry, because otherwise it all tends to just blend together if it's all wet and you just constantly work wet on wet on wet. It makes for a really muddy picture, in my opinion. And I can start kind of building this for highlights. Still in the midtones. Okay, and you can see where it's starting to build. Starting to look more like a skin tone. And then getting into the hands here. This will be where I can actually differentiate things and make it look foreshortened versus not. Then I start at the top and I work my way down all over again. Because remember, everything here dries darker than it's showing up right now. And straight up, I will use every ounce of skin tones, usually. Okay, this is going to be another sit and wait and watch it dry. But it is starting to look a lot more like skin. Okay. So he's drying. Well, I can still see where it's pretty wet, but let me do my speedy dab. Okay. I'm gonna work some more red tones in just to give his face a little bit of warmth. And this is what I mixed up here. Want it to be a little bit transparent, but I still want it to, to show up. I'm actually going to add a little bit more. This just keeps him from looking. It makes his overall, it'll make the overall image look a lot more vibrant, a lot more three-dimensional than if I just kind of mixed everything and didn't add the warmth. Okay. Get the arms. Some reflected color here. Don't forget, red is a very opaque pigment with these paints to work with. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a little bit of a pure red. And just a touch of water. Actually, I should probably change my brush. Okay, a little bit more detail oriented here. And once again, I'm trying not to stick my head in the way. I guess it goes to show exactly how close I get to the artwork. And let's see. Starting to paint over lines here a little bit, but yeah, his eyebrows are there. Okay. I'm gonna go change my water out real quick. It's getting pretty murky. Okay. All right. Got some fresh water. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and work the shadows a little bit more again. So, and that's going to involve some magenta. And actually, I'm going to just do straight magenta because it leaves a nice transition into the purple. And actually, it's going to be a mix of purple and brown. I'm going to start adding some brown tones in. Trying to do my best also to keep some angles in, just to keep them looking kind of rugged. I'm used to drawing women, so it's just something I have to remind myself of. I'm like, yeah, those gentle curves aren't going to look quite right on a, big burly wrestler. I guess depending on the character, There's at least a few in AEW in particular that challenge those gender norms, which I am all about. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my deep violet and let me find it. The label is ripped, but it is transparent burnt umber. And that's going to give me like a nice purpley brown color. So, yeah, I got some deep violet over here, and I'm just gonna mix. I think I'll just do a little bit of brown, but yeah. It's a nice rich color. I actually really like purple and brown as a combo. I'm actually going to use that to mark once again where his eyebrows are, because it looks weird when you start erasing somebody's eyebrows too much. And once again, it's another really transparent layer. Okay. He's got his mouth kind of clenched. Gonna go ahead and go in with this brown. There we go. Yeah, weird eyebrows mess with me. So, okay. some definition into the muscles of his arm now. Okay. Belly button. Okay. Alright. There's that. Okay. Yeah, just doing another pass of letting it dry. Okay. Got about 30 minutes on my stream. And I'm just adding a little bit more brown to this purple now. And I'm actually going to add in a couple drops of the dioxazine purple. That's actually one I can pronounce. Just to give it a little bit more darkness. There we go. That's nice and deep. Just to get some of the really deep shadows there for definition. Yeah, like you can actually really see the difference now. And this is actually also the point where I'm going to start putting in a lot of the stubble shadows. And what'll most likely end up happening, I haven't quite made that decision yet, but I'll probably go in at the very end with either a black or a dark brown pen, kind of like what I showed earlier, and I'll just kind of give the stubble a little bit more definition. But yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing here right now is just I'm also trying to make sure I don't over highlight certain areas because I don't want his face looking puffy. And if I go over this with a black pen just to give it definition, once again, it requires a light touch because I don't want him to look like Hollywood Hulk Hogan from WCW days. That platinum blonde hair with like the black stubble. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. And let's see. Hello, everyone who is joined. I haven't had anybody chatting, but I do have viewers. So, welcome. And I'm also doing Twitch and YouTube simultaneously, so I'm trying to look at both chats, but if anybody says anything and I don't get back to you right away, I'm not ignoring you. It's just, I got a lot to keep track of. But yeah, welcome. I hope you're having a good time. And yeah, right now I am doing Hangman Adam Page. For anybody who, you know, is a big wrestling fan, I thought people would appreciate that. This is actually a late Christmas gift for a friend of mine who's a big wrestling fan. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting some pretty good definition here. And as you can see, I was able to go, actually, I'm probably going to go ahead and start laying in the shadows on his hair. I kind of like this color to build on. And I'm basically just going in the dark parts where the ink is and softening the black. Just getting, you can see where there's going to be reflected light along the top of his head here. Some definite yellows right along there, which will help him stand out against the background. Okay. Alright. It's looking good. sit and ponder this for a second while waiting on the shadows to dry, because I'm going to have to start getting into the highlights here pretty soon. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is probably, I'm going to use a flat brush. Oh, all this time organizing my brushes, and yeah, it just goes south so quickly. Okay, I got my small brush here, and I'm going to take some of this yellow. Oh, there's some water sitting in there from when I cleaned it out. Let's see. Plenty of white. I actually go through a lot of white whenever I'm doing paintings. I bought like 4 new tubes recently just because I realized I was getting low on it. Okay, and then I'm actually going to take this lightened yellow oxide that has a little bit of pink mixed in. It's made a nice flesh tone, and I'm actually going to mix this in here. And yeah, stirring, and then kind of letting it run down the side. Just so I'm trying not to bring too much more white into this pale yellow here. Or too much of this into that. So I don't muddy that color too much more. Let's see how this looks. Watery. Okay. But that's okay. I made it work with the base layer, so I can make it work now. Okay. I am going to add just a touch of this Purell red. Okay. It's a pretty straight on. Light source is pretty straight on here. Pretty basic. And yeah, it's like, it's kind of a little bit of a balancing act. I want to make sure it's, because it is a little bit watery. I probably should have wiped out my palette before adding in my paint, so oops. But it's kind of a mix between, you know, a heavy enough touch to make sure the paint actually shows up, but a light enough touch to where it's not just running down his face. So that's kind of where I'm at. But it's building up pretty well. It just takes a little more patience, and There we go. Get them pecs. And you do definitely want to use a flat brush and kind of do straight up and down so it looks more flat and less like boobs. So, and definition of the sternum also helps. And these highlights are more muted. It's going to be more vivid, kind of, with some of the backlighting that there technically would be. All right. Okay, and I'm probably going to do a little bit of fine detailing with these hands off camera because it's going to involve me getting close, and I drive myself nuts trying to not stick my head in front of the camera while I'm streaming because I figure you guys don't want to look at my greasy hair. I did color it recently though, so... yeah, it's a nice shade of green. It's also so hard sometimes to talk, especially into nothing, like while I'm painting, because it's like I'm trying to concentrate, but I'm also trying to explain what I'm doing. So, yep. I'm going to paint in a happy little muscle right here. And, okay. Let's see, I've been on for almost 2 hours. I'm going to work a little bit more of the bright yellow and the white into this. Okay, that's giving it a nice shine. Okay. There's also some highlights that I have to take into account in stubble. Stubble's pretty, well, beards in general, any facial hair, but stubble is especially, that's a little bit too much. is especially complicated. Dang it. That actually looks better. Okay. Yeah, because that's just more surfaces to take into account. More things for light to hit and bounce off of, and yeah. And then trying to do that without over highlighting his face, because that'll make it look puffy, and I don't want that either. And I can totally hear my cat yelling upstairs. Mad that I am not up there with him. I have a very needy cat. His name's Cobra. I would bring him down here and let him say hi, but he would be way too in the way. So he is banished to the upstairs. My work area is in the basement. Okay. All right. I actually just realized I need to catch up on Rampage. I've been so busy, like, it's all I can do to make sure I stay on Dynamite every week, but yeah. Yeah, I've been having a hard time keeping up with everything. I do enjoy watching different wrestlers on Twitter. They're pretty entertaining on there. But yeah. Okay. And for any Twitch viewers, I will do more to play to you guys also in the near future. It may be a little slapdash on that end. I had just before the stream started, I had just realized I could stream on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So it was just a last minute thing to be like, hey, I'm gonna put this on Twitch too. Mostly because I just wanted to get a feel for how everything worked. So hopefully it's all looking really good and all that. Okay, I washed out this little spot so I can get a lighter and brighter highlight in. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. That's a little bit too high. There we go. Okay. And yeah, this is the highest of highlights, and a little can go a long way with it. Like right there. A little bit too much. Alright. Okay. And I purposefully made it really bright. So... And yeah, like I said, I'll do more details of the hands probably after the stream, and I'll post a video just because, like I said, I'll get my head in the way doing that, and I don't think that's something you guys really want to watch. Okay. Here we go. And I'm actually going to call this done for the evening, because I'm hitting right up against the 2-hour mark, which is usually about where I kind of aim. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I'm glad my Twitch experiment was a success, so I'll be streaming on both platforms from now on. Blar. Metatron! You're my first person to interact with me, and it's at the very end. Oh, 7:57. But yeah, so yeah, I will be on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope you're late. But yeah, so hopefully, I just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I'll make sure to, I'm actually gonna try to, like, talk more during these, because I feel like I don't like the silence. I try to have some background music so it isn't just completely dead, but yeah, talking and painting is really hard, and I'm not usually a very chatty person anyway. So that's probably the part that's most weird for me, but yeah, I would definitely love to get more people engaged and get this more interactive. So, but that's more just kind of later on goals. For right now, yeah, Hangman Adam Page, drawing some cowboy shit. And I hope that you enjoy this, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye!